and then Azerbaijan later on, so that should be fun for me. We should be good. Only 11 people in this one. Probably means that we're not going to get a decent amount of safety cards. So could be other nice and soon as we go along. Just looking at things. Safety card on. I assume damage would be on as well. So I'm just waiting for everyone to get going. Just waiting on the go from tier 3, and then we head into qualifying. France is one of those circuits that people find more boring to drive than anything else. It's not the hardest track on the calendar by any means. It's not the easiest either. Large runoffs probably mean that there's going to be a lack of crashes unless, crashes with barriers anyway. Unless there are collisions that go through the grid. But there could be a decent amount of good racing here, I think. As for people in this tier, it's going to be completely new to me as well, considering I don't actually know much about this tier. Don't really know much about my own tier later on as well. Watch that later on. But there's a lot of very interesting things that could arise from certain people in this tier. I know that much. Done some 5 lappers against some of the people in here, Connor and Percival in particular. As for much of anyone else, it could be quite the surprise for me, I think. I see that everyone's predictors are about to start. We were meant to go half past. I see people are starting to ready up now. So that should be, yep, that's good for us to start going then. "23 seconds and we should be off." Just gonna close my window so I can go to what I usually do whenever I do commentating. And 9 times out of 10 scream my head off whenever there's a crash. But let's go. We are about to head to qualifying, and then off to the full race. Just waiting for people to load in. We got another 26-second count on the top of the screen before we head into qualifying. So I know people's times later on in Tier 1 will probably range into the 30s, maybe mid-30s to low 30s. Here, I would probably be expecting somewhere in the region of a high 31, maybe to be pole, maybe a 32. Then again, that depends on the gap between Tier 1 and Tier 3. We see 11 on the grid. I think there's going to be one more. I saw someone else join in the middle of the loading screen there. I don't know if he's going to be able to get himself into a car. He has. So we're going with 12. As per usual, to those who've watched this channel before or watched me do a commentator's race commentary on either ALR or ECR, we do the car that is first out of the pit lane. It goes over the white line to start their out lap and then their flying lap, and we give them the full attention for their first lap. First one out here is Percival, which I tipped highly in this race. I don't know whether or not that's going to come true later on, but that's for questions. That's a question we get to answer in about 45 minutes or so. Up until that point, we're going to do qualifying for the next 16 and a half minutes. See Percival setting up his flying lap, going down the straight. He's going to be the first one to go. Hopefully the Mercedes behind him leaves him a chunk of space. That way we don't get any incidents in qualifying. Goes through the final sector now. And, you know, I'm expecting more from particular people here, but as for spins, things like that, I feel like that could be quite prevalent in this particular race, pre-season. Usually one that you can tell when it's pre-season, so it's usually like that. And here we go, first flying lap of the day now. Percival's going to get us underway through fourth gear into turn 1 and then into turn 2. Gets himself on the outside, but not enough to invalidate, so it's not the worst start in the world. Into turn 3 goes. He probably could get a little bit closer into turn 3. Goes around turn 4 onto the curbs and not really playing with danger at the moment. Gets wide through the beginning of the second sector. And up the straight he goes. Yellow flag in sector 1, so it looked like somebody's already spun. Either that or he's just letting someone pass. I'm not sure what's going on with, I think it's the Williams back there. Percival up into the second sector now, 51 flat. We'll get to see where that realistically stands up in a short while. That's going extremely deep into that corner for no particular reason. Yellow flagged in sector 2 and 3. The Alfa Romeo just letting someone through. Now into the final couple of corners on a lap round France. He probably should be getting on the curb on the inside there. And then through the very last corner up the straight. You get DRS open right now, and the time is going to be a 1:32.1 as a benchmark. Fair enough, invalidated for the Williams. Nolan did a 34.2, but I think that might have been invalid. Let's watch Nolan's lap. Got a few people who didn't really come across the idea that space is important when setting up a qualifying lap. Everyone else on the grid is rather bunched up on the final corner now, and looked like one of the Williams has just had a little bit of a moment in that final corner. The Ferrari is just letting people through. There's a few lap times going up now. Trocker does a 1:34.2, 1:33.5 for TJ, 1:33.3 for Lars. Havoc does a 32.6. Brother Adam did a 32.6, just ever so slightly quicker than Havoc, but no one really going anywhere near that time that Percival has set as the benchmark so far. 32.1, seemingly out of reach at the moment. We're going to see if anyone can reach it. Still a couple of people in the pits. Especially the average gamer, who I've seen being tipped quite high. Yellow flag in sector 2, it's just the Alpine letting someone through. Percival comes into pit, and there's a very, very wide one from Nolan as he comes into pit. Money, let's see what he's doing. He on a flying lap? Would assume so. It's a 51.5 through the second sector. No one else has put up a lap yet. A couple people on flying laps. A couple people that need to do some work here. There's your fastest lap of the session so far. That's a nice one there from Hutchie. A 1:31.7. That is actually a pretty good time. It's not that bad there. The AlphaTauri putting it on provisional pole with 11.5 minutes left of the session. Moneyman coming up to the line, up 32.4, puts himself third. It certainly isn't the worst thing in the world. Williams now, I think, is doing a flying lap. Taking a little bit slow through the first sector, 23.3. First sector, the end of that first sector. Oh, he's invalidated it. Never mind. So Hutchie's definitely doing an in-lap. 100%. Moneyman probably is as well. The Williams has gone very wide and has well and truly invalidated the lap. Gonna have to just settle at the moment. Percival's come back out already, which is rather surprising. Might have just chose to leave it a couple extra minutes, but here we go. Here's one of the highly rated drivers in the tier. Near the average gamer going on his lap now. First time he's been out this session. Looking at that 31.7. Currently 4 tenths up on anyone else on the grid. Let's see where this Alfa Romeo can place himself. It's a purple sector 1, which could imply that he could be on for quite a time here. DRS up the straight. It's rather interesting whether you choose to do downforce and take a better first and third sector, yellow flag in sector 3, or do you take the speed and just blitz through these straights that you got in the second sector. It seems like it's purple again, 50.9 going through the second sector. Now this is where you usually make or break your lap. The long corners, the sweeping corners in sector 3, which could pose quite a lot of trouble if you don't really get them right. Get a bit more close to the curb than that, but I don't think Nerdy is complaining with his lap so far. Coming around the second to last now, and then up to the last. Keeps it valid, so we're getting a valid lap here from Nerdy. Over the line he comes, it's 31.6. And that is provisional pole so far. That's a decent lap, just shy of 1.5 tenths ahead of Hutchie. We get to see Percival again as he goes on his lap. Nolan not so far behind him. I think SMI is just going on an in-lap at this point, the amount of times he's validated. People all over the place on outlaps. Just in Trocker. Now taking his second outlap. I think Lars is just behind him. See what Percival's doing. Is he going to be better than Nerdy? He is not. He's not actually better than his own second sector at the moment. 0.004. Down on his quickest time. He's going to have to pick it up somewhere. Currently just sat like just over half a second off the lead. It looks like Hutchie's flown under the radar in Tier 3. Yellow flag in Sector 3 as we go along. I think that's just a Williams lane through an AlphaTauri. The yellow flag further back. Oh, Percival almost loses it through the final corner, and well, whether or not he was doing a good lap beforehand, has well and truly killed it. Let's have a look at she's currently 8.5 tenths up on his lap. That would put him just ahead of Brother Adam, maybe somewhere near Moneyman. See where he can actually put himself in terms of on the grid for the race. It looked like Hutchie's decided to come on his second lap. Now he's seeing what Nerdy's done. Lars might be able to push himself up into the top 4 here. Over the line he comes. It is a 32.593, so that third sector not particularly quick, and only puts him 5th. So see what Brother Adam's doing. He's currently a 10.5 up in the Alpine. Let's see what he's able to do. What is he at the end of the second sector? Is he just coming up to the line now? There's a 50.7. It's purple, so he is half a second up. Truck has just left the session, may have just lagged out or something, but half a second up is Brother Adam here, and it's not enough for him to be anywhere near pole at the moment, though, if it is only half a second. Maybe this third sector can push him up toward the front row. As he goes through the second to last now, and then through to the last. Gets himself into second gear. Short shift up to third, short shift up to fourth. Needs to fix his brake pedal. Fair enough. And it's a 32.2 there for Brother Adam. Puts him into fourth. It's not particularly convincing. Let's see what Hutchie's doing. He is up on his time. Is almost 0.2 of a second up. Would certainly put him into first onto provisional pole with about 5.5 minutes left of the session. Goes through the second sector. Is it purple? It is purple. He is over 0.2 of a second up now. And he might give Nerdy Average Gamer some work to do later on. And here comes Hutchie. He goes through the third sector, goes through one sweeping corner, one to the right, then one to the left. And but then through another one to the right and into the final couple of corners. Through fourth, into second. Goes around the final corner, doesn't hit any curbs, so he's gone up, shifting up quite quickly here. Is he going to be able to put himself on provisional pole? He is. 31.327, almost half a second up, and well, Nerdy has got his work cut out now. Only one actually on an outlap, I think. Oh no, Connor's doing an outlap right now, as he is ever so slightly quicker than his prior lap. In that McLaren, currently sat 7th. His first couple of sectors won't move him anywhere, even though he would improve. Hutchie's laid down the mark. Whether or not he's going to be able to get in and get back out for a final run is soon to be seen. Connor's a little bit slidey all over the place, and he's just going to pit. Let's have a look. Who's the closest to the line here on their outlap? Hutchie doing an in-lap. Percival's going through the first sector. Moneyman's following him. There's a Alpine parked up there. The Williams. So it looks like the two Williams. Yeah, it's the two Williams now that's going to be out on the grid to actually potentially do something here. Could be rather interesting. Let's see if a couple of people are going to put up times. There's a couple of people without times. At the moment, most in the 32s. And here comes the Williams, now doing his time. Let's hope he doesn't invalidate like the other ones he has done so far today. In the first sector, comes down toward turn 3 now. And then turn 4. Doesn't get on the curb as much as other people have been doing, but he does there and almost sends it a little bit too deep into the beginning of sector 2, but he is spun on the beginning of sector 2. Maybe a little bit too much throttle there, not enough on the balance of the car, and is gone round. So we're going to watch the other Williams now, as SM's just not been able to put up quite a time here. Let's see if his Williams teammate is going to be able to pick up the scraps. Up through the second sector he goes. 50.4. He's 0.7 of a second up, but he's still about half a second off the pole time through that sector. And, well, if he was to stay about half a second, it would put him up into third. So I don't think he'd be complaining an awful lot. Goes through sector 3 now, and looked like one of the Ferraris have either come off the track to let people through or span. I'm not quite sure which one that is. We've got 1 minute 33 left of qualifying, so essentially your last laps now. Unless you're doing out laps, but it's a 32.2, puts him up to 4th. Williams is not having a bad time there. Moneyman invalidated, Larsh invalidated. Let's have a look at Trocker. SMI done a 58. He's finally gone over the line. Nerdy looked like he's doing a lap now. Let's have a look. Is Nerdy doing a lap? He is, but he's down. It looked like he's just completely backed out of the lap. He has completely backed out of the lap, so he's saving up his energy to go. Percival obviously backed out of his lap as well, as people are now seeing that you realistically have to go now or never, and looks like God has span a little bit there. Coming out of turn 2, the Haas's day is unfortunately over. Looked like he's going to start from the back of the grid. As we go through people's final qualifying laps now, Nerdy has about 5 seconds to get over the line. Nolan has not done a lap, so he's staying in the pits and probably going to start third from last if Trocker can get himself a lap time on the board. At the yellow flag, it's still the Haas not having the greatest of times. The Percival's time just not matching it. Nerdy's done as well. I don't think, yep, TJW is not having a great time. Brother Adam's invalidated. Moneyman's invalidated. And so I think it might just be Larsh now, and Hutchie. Oh, Larsh goes spinning as well. Connor's invalidated. Trocker is now the only person left on the grid that could actively stop Hutchie from being on pole. I don't think he is. It's all over the place. It looks slow and he's not doing anything there, so that's the end. Hutchie is gonna be your pole sitter here in pre-season at France, and I'm not sure I've seen anybody with that in the predictors, so if you have, well played. But Hutchie there on pole here. Nerdy's gonna have to settle for sitting alongside him on the front row. Percival's going to be third. TJW there in fourth, filling out the second row. Brother Adam and Moneyman sitting in the third row. But it's AlphaTauri's qualifying. It's not the line you were meant to slow down by, but I can understand why the confusion's there. That was quite a lap there from Hutchie, to be fair. 31.3, that's probably good pace for Tier 2 later on, rather than anything else, but looks like Logan's brother here, Trocker, has not been able to fix the brake issue he's been having. Hutchie's not particularly happy with what happened on the final lap. However, I don't think he should be qualifying. He should be moaning at all, considering he's on pole by 0.3 of a second. And well, let's just say the split between the drivers is quite ranging. No couple at the back didn't really get the ability to do proper laps. But they are going to have to do something special in the race to catch up to the guy at the front. Even Percival have been third, 0.8 of a second off Hutchie. So even Percival has his work cut out for him here. It looks like we might just have a straight shootout between Hutchie and Nerdy for the win of this race. Don't know if we're going rain. Rain could spice everything up. That would be quite the change to the standards, I think, if the rain was a part of this race. But by the looking of the clouds overhead there, it doesn't look very likely. We've got 12 people going here. Someone's got a brake pedal issue. That could be quite something else for later on. I'm on track for a 32 low, then blow it there. So it's saying in the Discord chat, so looked like his qualifying didn't go anywhere near the plan. There we go. We go in formation lap. Yep, formation lap first, and then so DMAC wants Moneyman to win. Moneyman starting in 6th has certainly got his work cut out for him. After that qualifying, I don't see anybody stopping the front two unless it's themselves. The front two were very much clear, up by 0.8 of a second on, well, the third your pole sitter was up by 0.8 of a second on third. Yep, got to cheer for the teammate. Yeah, no, that makes sense. That makes sense. It could be one of those where the race gets flipped completely on its head. I can only go off what I've seen from qualifying. The only thing I've seen from a large chunk of people in this race. But qualifying would certainly set up that the front two are going to go at it and the rest of them are just playing second fiddle. Formation lap here. Let's have a look at who's on what tyres. So the Haas at the back sits itself on softs. Could be a rather interesting strategy later on. Hards for Moneyman, the second Williams and Nolan there. And everyone else starts everyone else starts on the medium tyres. The strategy here, without rain anyway, probably sits on a medium to hard strategy. Safety car could obviously change that, especially if it's an early one. The Haas at the back might be in quite a nice place to just go straight to the hards. Let's see how many people we get disqualified for jumping their grid spot then. Well, Hutchie jumped it. Percival's jumped it. Nerdy's jumped it. So it looks like nobody understands what started the pits, the formation lap 1 entails. It looked like fourth got the best placement on the grid there, and Hutchie gonna lead us off. There's 4, 5 red lights. And it's lights out, away we go here, and it looks like the AlphaTauri and the Aston Martin got one hell of a start. The Aston Martin in particular already moved himself up a couple of places. Moneyman from 6th on the grid to 3rd on the grid immediately. Doesn't look like we had a crash. Larsh up to 3rd. Oh, and so span is Percival. Percival span in the 2nd corner. And that's not great. It shoves him all the way to the back. The 2 Williams going at it through turn 3 and 4. It looked like the Haas is the biggest beneficiary between that and Larsh and Moneyman sitting themselves currently 2nd and 3rd, but Hutchie is well and truly away already. His biggest fighters from qualifying already, well, they're not down and out, but they've had quite the horrific start. Percival jumps to the back, and Nerdy lost a good 3 or 4 positions off turn 1. Oh, and Brother Adam span round as well. There in the chicane coming out of it. I'm not sure if there was contact, but it's certainly not the right way round. The Mercedes is going to go down the inside of the Haas. The Haas has gone incredibly wide. And they're going to go at it again through the beginning of the 3rd sector, and the Haas trying to go for a switchback, goes around the outside, is not going to have the position here, I don't think, on the Mercedes. Never mind, there's a collision there between Nolan and Jordan, and the Haas has well and truly lost its front wing. I think that might be virtual safety car. Yes, it is. Moneyman going to hold himself in 3rd. Larsh quite the way back. 2.5 seconds there behind Hutchie, who has complete control over this race. Jordan's going to have to go on the medium tyres, because I don't think you can get to the end on hards without being about 85-ish% of the way through your tyre. That is not a great start between Nolan and Jord. Those two coming to blows. I'm not sure. It looked like we're still having a virtual safety car. Yep. Everyone else pretty bunched up. It's 3.4 seconds now, and the gap has increased by a second under the virtual safety car as we go again. Hutchie is very much clear as he goes through the chicane now, and it looks like Moneyman had just gone way too deep, and it's going to open the door for a Nerdy Average Gamer behind him, and maybe Connor as well in the McLaren. The medium tyres are going to be far better to have fired up, far better on the track at the moment as well. Whether or not Nerdy Average Gamer is going to be able to push himself towards that Ferrari in front, we'll find out shortly, but that Ferrari is closing himself in on that Red Bull as well, so whilst it's going to take quite the crash from Hutchie to change the course of who's winning this race, the battle for who's behind is going to be who's going to be on that second step of the podium. Certainly heating up if they go through the final straight now, and DRS should be enabled from the beginning of this lap. As you see, he does go there, and Trocker sets the fastest lap of the race so far, 40.3, which is immediately bettered by an entire second by Percival on up in 10th. After a couple of people spinning, gives him a couple of positions after his nightmare start. And Moneyman's still 0.3 of a second off the back of Larsh, or he was before the ending of Sector 1. Down the straight, he looked like he's quicker. DRS is going to be a major factor now. DRS is only, well, it's going to be available for everyone behind Larsh, not for Larsh, as he's going to have to settle right now as a sitting duck, possibly. There you go, Trocker and SMI is going through. They're going to go side by side up into the beginning of the third sector. Side by side they go. Is the Alpine going to have the Williams? The Alpine going to go the long way round. And he is going to have the Williams. That's well driven by Trocker there. Nerdy has got past Larsh, but Nerdy's also gone very wide as Moneyman is up into second. Larsh in third, and Nerdy's going to have a fight with Havoc now. As they're going to go through the final corner. TJW on the back of him, and it looked like Hutchie is 5.5 seconds up the road. Says the fastest lap so far, and I think he should be in tier 2. I think he is just way too quick, in particular around here anyway. Any sort of battle he might have had with Nerdy and Percival was pretty much dead off the start. Nerdy's start was awful, and Percival spun at turn 2 after what was a blistering start. Might have been able to get himself alongside Touchy, but wasn't to be. Larsh currently sat there in third on the medium tyre. The hard tyre of Moneyman might be able to push him later in the race when they obviously switch, and they look like Larsh is going to go through for the chicane. He definitely had the long way round to the first part and had his move done by the second part of the chicane, but they're going to go back at it with Slipstream up into the beginning of the third sector. It's not quite too wide, but within 0.2 of a second. It might be too wide through here. No, the Ferrari just backs off. Oh, never mind. The Red Bull's gone very deep into the corner. It opened the door there for the Ferrari. The Ferrari going to gladly take back what was his to begin with. The Ferrari moves himself up to second. Larsh is now in the clutches of Nerdy in fourth. It looked like Havoc has dropped off the back of the pack here. These two are going to go hammer and tong through the final sector and then up into lap 6. Or into lap 5, sorry. About 1/10 of a second separating the two. Both had DRS. Percival sets the fastest lap of the session. As Nerdy is not able to make his way through. Money has broke DRS. Money 6.3 seconds off the back of Hutchie here. So I think the battle for the lead might be dead very much off the start. Oh, the Red Bull's gone! Larsh is not able to keep his car straight through the beginning of the second sector, and neither is the Williams. And SM has just bowled himself into the barrier and lost his front wing at the very least. I'm not sure how he's been able to continue, because that was quite a shunt. Quite surprised that he's not had his race ended there and then. Nolan and brother Adam going at it through the chicane, and there you go up into the third sector. Looked like the Alpine on the medium tyres is going to have it though. He does get past and does look like he's cleared him now. Still people fighting almost all the way through. Second, third and fourth now all broke DRS to the yellow flag in sector 3. It's the Mercedes. Nolan is the one that's gone round. Hutchie now sets the fastest lap of the race. Him and Percival going back and forth on that. But Percival now has an Alpine to try and get past before he can look back towards that. It goes through into turn 1 with DRS just not able to get close enough. TJW looked for a move there as well, but again just too far back to make anything stick. Percival about 0.4 of a second going through the end of the first sector. Is he going to be able to have any sort of say in his fight with Trocker at the moment? Trocker gets a little bit squirrely out the first corner in sector 2, and it's going to open the door for Percival with DRS to just breeze past him here down towards the chicane, and he gets it done quite nicely. And yeah, Percival was not to be denied there. As soon as Trucker got all out of sorts through the beginning of the second sector. Knew the Aston Martin was going to coast through. And he's going to clear Trucker as well here. He's going to clear him quite quickly. And now the only people within DRS range sits with TJW here in 5th on Connor. Yeah, Jod has had to pit earlier on because of a bit of a collision there. The yellow flag in sector 3 and Trucker has spun. Trucker has spun, lost a couple positions, and well, his day goes from bad to worse. Had a brake problem in qualifying. Let him halfway down the grid. Has not been able to fight back an awful lot. Here comes TJW on Havoc, and he got it done quite nicely and well before the braking point at turn 1. And yellow flag in sector 1. And it's the Ferrari. Moneyman has gone round at turn 2, too much curb. And has to the inside of turn 2 has dropped quite the number of positions there. And any sort of fight he might have been able to put up for a podium spot might have just disappeared. 3-second penalty for the Williams, currently sat in last. No, and the only other one with a penalty. Havoc and TJ going at it down the straight. Havoc's got the DRS. Is he going to be able to do anything into the chicane? It doesn't look like it. He's too far back into the chicane, and now he's going to have to go at it. The end of sector 2, up the straight. Is he going to have the slipstream enough to get him into the sharp right-hander? No, he's too far back. 3/10 of a second, which means, oh, it was going to be a bit hit and miss for him for the rest of the lap, but it looks like TJW just went incredibly wide into the sweeping right-hander. And might have opened the door for Connor if he could have drove a third sector here worth talking about, but it doesn't look like he has. He's lost about 4 or 5/10 of a second to TJW in the sector alone, and now DRS is not going to play any part. He does have it open actually, but as he's not really closing that gap. Everyone else not really within that DRS range. Percival fighting his way back through the grid, but everyone else is rather separated after Moneyman spins. Not really allowed anyone else to close in the gap. He's currently 6th at the moment. Your podium stands as Hutchie, who currently has a 10-second gap in just 8 laps due to multiple spins. One from Percival, one from Moneyman. Larsh also took one as well. Yellow flag in sector 2. As soon as I mentioned Larsh taking a spin, he goes and takes another one. And he's going to drop quite the way back. Down to 9th he goes. And well, he's going to be fighting a Mercedes now, rather than fighting a Alpine or two. 6/10 of a second now between Connor and TJW, as the two of them are not particularly closing the gap on each other, but Percival in behind might change that. Percival's going to have to get a move on if he wants that final podium spot, but Hutchie's setting a 35.8 on the lap. He is just flying at the moment, and probably too quick for this tier. However, the spins have distorted that I bet a little bit. I don't know how far he would be in front if everyone kept it on track cleanly. Percival, within half a second into turn 1, doesn't quite get close enough to Connor to make anything stick. Connor goes a little bit wide, probably got a warning for the outside of turn 2 there. Goes into turn 3. He is considerably closing that gap, and he had that McLaren's gearbox right in front of him. And he's going to be able to have a shot at this through the straight. Williams going to keep the cars pretty nice and stable through the beginning of sector 2. That's usually the biggest spin point between that and turn 2. And that seems to be raining pretty right at the moment. About 5/10, about half a second here. It's a little bit squirrely there from the Aston Martin getting out the chicane, but should certainly have enough speed to get alongside the McLaren, probably past it as well. They go all but too wide into the sharp right-hander, and then the sweeping right following it at the beginning of the third sector, and Percival has definitely got through. And up to fourth he goes, and he now has a Williams to hunt down to try and get himself onto that bottom step of the podium. Nerdy 2.5 seconds ahead of third at the moment. Makes him just shy of 4.5 seconds. Oh, Percival's gone very deep. It looked like Havertz's gone deep as well, and Moneyman might have the door opened up for him here. He definitely has. And he's got himself up into fifth, and he's got himself closing in on Percival. And, well, I guess Moneyman's not had his, not finished what he's, well, started at the beginning of the race. He got up to second, took himself a spin as well around turn 2, and is now fighting his way back through the grid. To make this race interesting at the front of the grid anyway, we need Hutchie to spin. Hutchie spins, then we might have something interesting, but the AlphaTauri is well clear after 10. Moneyman up the straight with DRS, not quite closed in enough on the Aston Martin to make something happen. But he is going to continue to close in, use of slipstream up into the beginning of the third sector. Now within half a second. Don't forget, he will go on to medium tyres at the end of this race. We'll certainly have the pace advantage then over Percival, and strategy might play into Moneyman's hands here, especially for a spot on the podium. Williams is losing ground to the guys behind him. The sector 3, certainly the Williams' strong point. And in comes the Aston Martin of Percival. The 3 seconds there for the second Williams. SM has just got himself a 3-second penalty, and Percival's going on to the hard tyre. Looks like Brother Adam has also come in. Lars gets himself 3 seconds, and then a further 5 seconds for speeding in the pit lane. Not really the greatest move there from the Red Bull. Had a moment of madness, so to speak. He dropped himself quite the way with 8 seconds worth of penalties. But after the collision on lap 1 for Jod, he might be able to bring himself back towards people here. 3, 4, and 5 separated pretty much by identical times, as Moneyman no longer has the DRS of Percival to try and drag himself close enough to TJ on the bottom step of that podium at the moment. But he is closing in the gap ever so slightly. Lars drops to the back of the grid as SM has gone on through. A hard tyre, the cold hard tyres, is not particularly helping those guys towards the back. Takes quite the while to get them up to speed. The pit there for Nerdy Average Gamer, and so does TJ follow him in. I think Havoc has just done the exact same as Lars did on the last lap. Got himself 5 seconds for speeding, got himself 3 seconds for not obeying track limits, and well, there's 5 seconds there for Trocker as well, and everyone seems to be forgetting that France's speed limit, because I think pretty much half the grid has a penalty for that now. 4 guys coming in to pit. Allows for Moneyman to go deep into this race, currently in second. Hutchie currently 16.5 seconds up in the lead. Connor about a second there behind Percival, who probably did himself a solid there, pitting the lap earlier than everyone else. Taking the time there to get his hard tyres warmed up, and everyone else has now got to sort that out. Looks like the Williams is not having any sort of problems with sorting out his hard tyre temperatures, and Nerdy is trying to warm up his tyres as these lot go down the straight. DRS is going to open up for the Williams, and then up into the chicane is too far back. It's about half a second. That Williams is rapidly closing that in, though. Hutchie now coming in to the pits. Going to leave Moneyman on his own for quite a while. Nerdy 23.4 seconds off the back of Moneyman at the moment. Moneyman still has to pit, but he will be doing it quite a lot later. Moneyman goes on through. Nerdy 40 seconds on the interval at the moment. The Williams is fighting him tooth and nail. There's a battle going on between Nolan and Percival behind as well, as we have quite the number of fights here. There's 7.5 seconds the gap between Hutchie and Moneyman, and Hutchie's going to have time, a hard time on those hard tyres, and Percival going to get through on Nolan. It puts him up to 5th as he's going to charge down that Williams again. Like Brother Adams just set the fastest lap of the entire race, 35.6. Won't be too surprised if it's not too long before Hutchie is able to do anything. And change that. 8.7 seconds now, the gap between Moneyman and Hutchie. Moneyman's strategy paying off so far. Yellow flag in sector 1. It looks like SM has gone off again, this time at turn 2. He has. And don't think there's going to cause an awful lot of runoff at turn 2. The fight there between 3 guys at the back here is the Haas. He's going to have an easy shot. What on earth is Lars doing there? On the outside, what is he doing? The track is, he's got to go to the inside there, and they're going to go too wide, the Alpine and the Haas, and wow, a little bit of lag there on Trocker's screen. And Red Bull is going to try and fight him as well. Red Bull up into beginning of sector 3, fighting the Haas, fighting the Alpine. I just snapped off my brake. Oh, that's not great. That's really not great. Yeah, you might be in trouble then. And they're still fighting here between the 3 guys. Going into... Yeah, I understood. I could understand that one from you, Spin. The Red Bull DRS is going to take advantage of it. Is he going to be able to get the Haas into turn 1? They both have DRS. Haas's tyres are not quite going to fall off a cliff, but he is going to spin at turn 2. Lars almost followed him, but managed to straighten up his car quite nicely there. And the Haas has spun again, and his day goes from bad to worse. Here comes Connor on Mitchell going into the chicane, and Connor had that done pretty nicely. Nolan gets 3 seconds for a compromised line into that chicane. And Percival is right on the back of TJW now. It's 7.8 seconds between Moneyman and Hutchie, as Hutchie on those hard tyres is not closing the gap as much as he probably would have thought he was. TJW now in the DRS range, or flickering in the DRS range of Nerdy Average Gamer in front. It's him and Percival fighting, and Hutchie 35.5, the fastest lap of the race so far, but that gap does not seem to be coming down considerably to Moneyman in front. Moneyman does still have to pit though. Should bring him in just behind, bring him out just behind Nerdy, but he'll be on medium tyres to go to the end. Probably wait one more lap if I'm Moneyman and then go on to the mediums. And the alternate strategy might pay off for Moneyman here. There's still a 3-way fight here for the bottom step of the podium at the moment. Lars is going to fight Trocker. He's going to go into turn 3 quickly before the other ones go at each other, and it looked like Trocker's going to be able to hold that position. Is TJ going to be able to do anything into the chicane? He is not. It didn't look like Percival was able to close in the gap either, so we're stuck in a stalemate at a DRS train with the 3 of the guys here. Larsh's out of Trucker's DRS. Just dropped back into it now, actually, at the straight. He is closing in. Moneyman's going in now. It looks like Nerdy has just had an awful corner there, and the Williams is up alongside him. Gonna go the long way round. And there's a collision! There's a collision between the Williams and the Alfa Romeo. And I'm not sure there was enough space given by the Williams on the outside there, but oh, that is an unfortunate collision. Percival's going to go through very nicely there. And I don't think Moneyman cares, because if he's paying attention here, he's going to clear that Aston Martin, and he's going to have quite the nice time in second. I'm not sure if he would have cleared the Alfa Romeo and the Williams, but he has cleared the Aston Martin. He's on fresher tyres, and now he has 16 seconds to hunt down. The Aston Martin of Percival's going to get DRS, but those tyres are not going to help him whatsoever. And I very much doubt that at this point Percival is going to get Moneyman. He should just be away on these straights. DRS going to close the gap back in, but how long for? Fight still going on between Nerdy Average Gamer and TJW as their collision sends them behind Connor and Percival, and any chance they had for the bottom step of the podium today has definitely been killed, I think, by the collision there between the two. Larsh has finally got Trucker, Brother Adam fighting Nolan. About 7 times between the two. Nerdy Average Gamer. Oh, the Williams are spun! The Williams are spun! And out the sweeping right-hander, and that's going to kill his race for definite. Tyre temperatures are not being his best friend. Trucker has got back on Larsh. They're going to go too wide through the same corner we just saw the Williams spin at. The inside has probably a favourable line here, as Trucker is going to barge Larsh off the track. They're going to go at it. They're going to barge each other by the looks of it. And it looks like Trucker on the inside line there is going to hold the position for a small amount of time before DRS kicks in and, well, kicks Trucker out the position. Here comes the Red Bull down the straight into turn one. Is he going to get alongside? He is going to get alongside. Actually, no, he's not. Going to hold off. And the Alpine, with a little bit of defending to do there, has done it stellar. It puts himself up. It keeps him in ninth. 3 seconds for the Haas as the other Alpine and the Mercedes going at it. And he does get past Nolan with relative ease with the use of DRS. Everyone seemingly fighting their own race at the moment, especially the top five, probably top six as we go along. Yellow flag in sector one, and Jorda's spun again. The Haas at turn two is not enjoying his day whatsoever. Larsh gets 3 seconds extra, and I think he's running on about 11 seconds worth of penalties, but it doesn't matter because he's not going to go anywhere lower than 10th. Williams and the Haas are not having the greatest times either. Into the start-finish straight. Yellow flag in sector 3 is a Red Bull, which I mean is Larsh. Yep, Larsh has spun. That is quite unfortunate for Larsh, that he has well and truly ended 10th now. Seeing people, I think, getting lapped at this point. I think the Williams has been lapped. And you see battle going on here between Brother Adam and Nolan, the two closest guys currently on the grid. The rest of them slowly but surely pulling away from the guy behind. There's Williams going quite wide there, and that's Sam in front of Brother Adam right now, as he's been lapped by almost half the grid. Now has been lapped by half the grid. everyone is now out of DRS on lap 18 of 27. And I think this race is just going to meander on now. Nerdy is closing in the gap to Connor on lap 19 now as Hutchie goes over the line. There's a 16-second gap. Isn't really opening the gap on Moneyman, but isn't really Moneyman isn't doing anything to close it either. I think the battle for third might also be a bit dead at this point. Percival looks like he is going to put his stamp on the final step, because he is well and truly being driven away by Moneyman. Moneyman's just up the road at this point, and Connor is not catching up and has a penalty. So Nerdy Average Game is the closest thing right now to Percival. Penalties currently sitting at 8 seconds for Havoc, 6 for Nolan, 5 for Trocker, 11 for Larsh, 3 for Jordan, 6 for SM. As for anything that actually matters penalty-wise, only really Havoc. Oh, sneeze! That was the sneeze. I actually didn't feel coming, but yeah. Back to this anyway. Nerdy Average Gamer. Still watching him. He will get 4th at the very least. Don't see Brother Adam closing anywhere near enough to actually pose a threat. I think Havoc will get probably 6th, maybe 7th, depending on how well TJW races for the rest. Oh, yellow flag in sector 1, yellow flag in sector 3, and the Mercedes are spanning sector 3. And it looks like the Haas in sector 1 again. The Haas is not enjoying turn 2, not enjoyed it at all the entire day. Seems to be the one spot on the entire track he can't really do. Nerdy is now within a second of Havoc in front of him. Nolan gets an extra 3 seconds. If he can, it might pull him closer to Trocker, and Trocker might get a place here. Mercedes actually is in the pit as Trocker goes on by. We've got 7 laps left of the race as it's had a couple of spins, but nothing really massive at this point. What's the McLaren doing? What did the McLaren just do? Oh, there's a collision. Oh, no, there's not a collision, sorry. TJW's just gone round. I thought there was a collision because I thought I saw multiple cars there, but TJW's just gone round and, well, Havoc is well and truly ended 6th now, but I don't understand what Havoc was doing there. It stops along the straight. Let through Nerdy Average Gamer, but not sure that actually actively made a lot of sense, as he's trying to fight his way through and possibly end higher than 6th, but I guess he's just settled for what he can get. Gap now 16, still 16 seconds between Hutchie and Moneyman as they are effectively doing the exact same time repeatedly. Moneyman probably just going to have to settle for second at this point. Percival 6 seconds off the back of him. Moneyman's strategy definitely would have worked had Hutchie not been on fine form today. And 6.2 seconds now separates second and third, followed by Nerdy 4.8 seconds off the back of Percival. One penalty would make the battle for a third place quite interesting. No one else is realistically in with a proper fight at the moment. Maybe Larsh and Nolan, as Nolan now on soft tyres should be able to carve his way back through the pack, maybe up to where Trocker is, if he can keep those softs going for long enough. but it doesn't look like he's actively getting anywhere near Lash, despite the tyre advantage. Havoc 2.7 seconds, and Nerdy Average Gamer is bringing the gap down to Percival, currently in third. He's got 5 laps to get that 4.5 seconds and make a move, which doesn't seem very likely. But it's doable. What's the tyres disadvantage like? Oh, they're on pretty much the same tyres, so it's not looking very likely for a Nerdy Average Gamer to get on the podium here. As they go through, Havoc gets another 3 seconds, and that's just solidifying where he ends. Race is coming to... Oh, the Red Bull! The Red Bull gets all out of sorts! And, yeah, he's going to have to concede that position, and Nolan all out of sorts through the last corner there. There's fights not really happening anymore because everyone seems to be separated by that 3-second-ish mark. Some a little bit more, some a little less. Moneyman has cleared Percival by 7 seconds now. And that gap to Hutchie is coming down. It has come down 0.6 of a second in the last lap, I'm pretty sure. They come up to lap Jod now in the Haas. It's slowly getting toward the end. It's meandering. But lap 23 of 27 we're on now. Gap 15.4 seconds in the lead for Hutchie, followed by Moneyman, who's in second. Then a further 6.8 seconds back to Percival. Then 4.5 further back to Nerdy, and then Havoc with 11 seconds of penalties is going to drop drop at least one position. Probably just the one. Brother Adam in 6, 2.7 seconds back. Not really going to have to push for anything at this point because he's ended 5th. TJW 15 seconds further back, and then the guys at the back have not had the particularly nicest race I've ever seen. I would assume some might be on the way to lap. It's 3 seconds there for Brother Adam. I'm not sure who else got 3 seconds. I think it might have been Trocker. I think it was Trocker that just got an extra 3 seconds. I'm not sure that's going to play much effect whatsoever, and neither is the Brother Adam penalty. I'm going through the third sector for most of these. Hutchie in the pits. So Hutchie has gone into the pits to go onto soft tyres. I assume to make this even interesting. Moneyman has gone on through the soft tyres for 3 laps, and so has Percival. Certainly an interesting choice. I know it's pre-season, but I think Hutchie may have just Ferrari'd this. Not sure if it's intentional or whether or not he thinks he could get a 7-second gap or an 8-second gap in for 3 laps. Guess we're about to find out. But I guess that might leave Moneyman to win this race, actually. Lash gets 5 seconds of speeding in the pit lane, and his penalty-stricken day continues on. Lord is going to be fighting Hutchie up the straight here. Hutchie is going to be on a significantly quicker tyre. 3 more seconds for Havoc, as he's just not liking track limits today. As Hutchie is going to be right on the gearbox of Percival. Going to go down the inside and going to get that moved on very, very early. And it's now 7.2 seconds. Going to have a chase down here between Hutchie and Moneyman, who's been going pretty much the same pace the entirety of the second stint. While Moneyman was on mediums and Hutchie was on hard. They've pretty much going the same pace. Now Hutchie's on the soft tyre and we've got 3 laps to go. Down the straight they go. Into turn 1, Moneyman on the back of Jord, who's going to have to move out the way soon enough. It's 6.6 seconds, 6.5 seconds. That time's going to continue to come down. Percival is out of DRS already as Hutchie is flying. But this is realistically the only kind of thing we've got left to look at for the race, because everyone else is separated quite nicely. Well, quite nicely for if you're in a certain position, not if you're looking for something nice to commentate on. 5.2 seconds now. He has closed that down by an extra 1.5 seconds on the lap. He is going to be within shooting range, I think. I don't know if he's going to get it done, though. He is on fresh softs. There is no sort of tyre disadvantage. Well, not disadvantage, sorry. I forgot what I was going to say there. Penalty disadvantage. There you go. That's why I had it on penalties. It's 4.5 seconds. We are going to have a fight at the end here then. It looks like Brother Adam's going to try his best, absolute best, to close in on the Havoc in the process. Now the average gamer is closed right in on Percival. It's 2.5 seconds. But I don't think he's going to be able to close enough to threat Percival before the end of the race. It's 3.8 seconds now to the lead of the race. 33 flat. 3.9 seconds with 2 laps to go. Is Hutchie going to get him? He's going to be within shooting range on the final lap. It could be possible that if Moneyman can get to the end of the lap outside of DRS, then he should be able to drag this one home. I do not know if he's going to be able to keep that, though. It's 3.1 seconds. They go up the straight. And going through the chicane now, whether or not Hutchie's going to be able to close that gap is... we're about to find out. Yellow flag in sector 2. I think it's Brother Adam. It is. And Havoc might be saved by save for 5th there. I'm getting invites every 5 seconds at this point. Hutchie's still going. He's still closing the gap. It's 2 seconds with a lap and a bit to go. And we are still going at it here. Hutchie, 1.5. You see him just in the distance. He has not got DRS yet. We're going toward the end of the race, lap 27 of 27. We are going to have a fight. Who is going to who's going to have it? Yellow flag in sector 1. It's Haas again, who's just not enjoyed anything here. But we're still focusing on the DRS between Hutchie and Moneyman, who goes to the line here, and Moneyman has gone incredibly wide. And DRS plus the tyres, this should be it. If he's going to hang on for this, he's got to hang up the straight into sector 3. And if he can hang on into the cornering that's sector 3, he is going to be able to hold on for the rest of the race. He's running out of ERS, sorry, for Hutchie. He's ran out of ERS. And the Moneyman is running on empty. So here we go. They're going to fight their way through. There's a collision. There's a double collision. And Hutchie has just punted Moneyman off of the track. And then what I thought would have been a clean fight is just being completely destroyed. And that was not at all clean. That was incredibly dirty there from Hutchie. Could have done that without the hit. Moneyman is going to be able to drag himself over in second. But Hutchie has won that Grand Prix pretty begrudgingly. He shoved himself into the back of that Ferrari twice over. Nah, Moneyman's going to get second. I wanted to see a clean fight there to see whether or not they would have been able to get to the line in a fair spirit, but I guess that's not to be. TJW, the only other one over the line now, up in 6th, just ever so slightly behind Havoc. Brother Adam going to cross his line in 7th. Trucker's going to cross the line here in 8th. Nolan's going to have 9th. These were all pretty spaced out. That was incredibly dirty over the line. Dirty in the final sector from Hutchie. Larsh is going to come over here in 10th. He's the only one left to actually finish his lap. The other two were both lapped, so their races have already finished. As he comes over the line in 10th. And that will be the end. That will be the end of your race here in France. Hutchie's won it, but he's won it in questionable circumstances. Whether he would have got by anyway, we will never actually be able to find out. Moneyman had come over in 2nd. Percival in 3rd. Nerdy in 4th. Havoc in 5th. TJW over there in 6th. Brother in 7th. Trucker in 8th. Nolan in 9th. Larsh in 10th. Jordan 11th. And SM in 12th. Both a lap down. And it's rather unfortunate for the Ferrari. But with that, I think I'm calling that a day. End the stream here. Been a pleasure to commentate. Been a pleasure for everyone to watch. Hopefully you've all enjoyed yourself. Peace.